Hello, everyone. Thank you so much for joining us today. I'm so pleased to be able to bring with to you another episode of the Women of Influence Finance Edition. As some of you may know, it is Financial Literacy Awareness Month, and so we were able to kick off this past Saturday with Yaneth Medina, who is the SVP of St. Charles Bank, part of the Wintrust community, and we were able to discuss about the government relief programs for small businesses that are being impacted by this coronavirus pandemic that is going on. And so each week we're going to have someone in a different part of the financial sector bringing education to you all on just how we can just be more empowered in our finances. And so today I have this esteemed pleasure to bring on a long time friend of mine who is an expert within the retirement industry. She is an annuity expert. And when I say this is a phenomenal woman that you definitely want to be able to get to know, she has been able to help over hundreds of families be able to preserve over $2 million in their financial retirement assets. And so that is huge within the life insurance and retirement industry. So she's been able to do that. Not only has she been able to bring this information to our communities, she's also a momtrepreneur. And so she has three beautiful children, two amazing, handsome young men, 18 and 14. And she's got a beautiful princess who is 7 months old. And so she's just been doing it all. And so, but not only just that, she doesn't come from the background of the finance industry. She actually comes from the technology industry, and she's been able to transition and do something that's been of a love and a passion for her. So I won't take too much of her time, and I want to bring to you Miss Veronica Garcia, one of the top producers of the PHP agency. Veronica, do we have you on the line here?
You do. Can you hear me okay?
I can. Thank you. Thank you so much again for taking time out of your schedule to be able to do this here with us. And so, Veronica, if you don't mind, share a little bit about yourself and your background.
Yeah. So, as you mentioned, I don't come from the finance industry. I wasn't financially literate coming into the industry. I worked for the Chicago Transit Authority for about 13 years, but always had this teacher bug in me. I always wanted to teach people, add value to others, which I wasn't able to do in my role at the CTA. And so when I transitioned into the financial industry, specifically life insurance, I said, you know what, there's so many people in my community that need this information, that need to be empowered financially. So if I can learn this, teach others, and then make a career out of it, then hey, why not? And so now I've been in the industry for about
Mhm.
almost 6 years. As you mentioned, I'm a mother of three, two handsome boys, and my little princess, as you called her, who's now 7 months old, going on 8 months old later this month. And I absolutely love it. I love what we do for families. I love being able to answer the questions that people have in a more simplistic fashion than what you would typically get from others in the industry.
And one of the things that I do love about you that I didn't get to mention before, you are one of the most straight up, real talk, just spicy, feisty Latinas that I have ever known. Like you do not sugarcoat it. You just give it to people just raw because sometimes we just need the raw truth and just a wake up call. And so, with everything that is going on, especially within the markets, as we know, the coronavirus pandemic has hit people financially left and right, and it we just were not prepared for. And so, a lot of people have lost their money within the retirement that they thought was secure and was supposed to be there. People don't have their jobs, and it's affecting everybody. So, if you can share with us, how has it affected, how do you know from as an industry expert, has it affected people and their retirements right now, and including your clients as well?
That's a great question. So with my clients, because my focus with my clients is wealth protection. So with my clients, the impact has been zero because they haven't lost a dime. Okay. But for others, the typical American middle class family, it's impacted them tremendously, and it's sad to see, retirement accounts being minimized, losing value in the market. And it's been a tough time. But what I will say has been magnified is the lack of financial literacy in the middle class community. You know, the fact that 10 million people have applied for unemployment is scary, because it just goes to show how unprepared everyone is, even after dealing with a recession in '07, '09, from '07 to '09. And the fact that once again, our backs are against the wall. And so it really has shed a lot of light into the fact that this financial system that we have, or don't have really, let's be honest, continues to fail. It continues to fail the middle class community, which is why you see the poverty line increasing, and less of our middle class community is moving to the wealthier brackets compared to those that are falling and increasing into the poverty line. So it's been devastating for a lot of people, but I'm hoping and praying that this is the wake up call that we all needed, for us to realize how unprepared we are, and what are going to be what are we going to do to make that change, because history will repeat itself again.
And most definitely, if anybody pays attention to it, sometimes they say a virus follows an election, but also the markets, repeat itself every like 10 to 13 years when it's going up and it's going down. And I have a saying that if you have play money, then play with your money. But if you don't have play money, then don't be playing with your money, because most of middle class America, we don't have play money, but these are the only resources that we're known because it's just put in front of our face, you know.
Yeah.
And I know you have a very, very powerful story that impacted just your, I love your last name, Cruz, crusade in doing what you do. So can you share a little bit about your personal story?
Yeah. So in 2017, I was visiting my grandmother. I was actually in the process of helping a client who had been terminated from her position at Chicago Public Schools. And she just so happened to live not far, like maybe less than a mile away from my grandmother, on the southeast side of Chicago. And so before I went to go visit my client, I said, let me go visit my grandmother. And in Spanish and Puerto Rican is abuelita, we call her just abuelita. So I go visit with my grandmother, and of course, the first thing she does is offer me a cup of coffee, right? As usual, that's why we stay so short. um, and I was just telling her, like, what brings you to the neighborhood, and so I was kind of explaining that to her, and she then says, what? Tell me more about what you do, because I know you do something with life insurance and money, and tell me more about it. And so I explained to her what we do as far as wealth protection. And the first thing she said was, wait, there's a way for you to move your money to where you don't lose? And I said, yeah, why? And she said, oh my God, where were you when I retired? And I go, why? What happened? And so she begins to tell me the story of how when she retired, she had trusted the financial advisor of a sister from church. So someone that had already had great experience. And of course, everyone is going to have great experience when the market is up. That's natural. It's going to happen.
Right.
But my grandmother was in her 60s. Okay. So a woman in her 60s, having her money moved into the stock market or keeping it in the stock market is a huge, huge risk. So, but there's money to be made in those types of plans, right? And so naturally, of course, you're thinking your pocket's not their pocket, not your client, not in the best interest of your client. And so my grandmother said that when she moved her funds, obviously everything was good for a period of time. it was when the market took a hit in the last recession of '07 to '09. My
Okay.
grandmother went from having a little over $100,000 to a
Mhm.
devastating $19,000. And that was
What?
between losses and fees.
Oh, oh my gosh.
So not only, and it gives me goosebumps to this day, and it makes me emotional to this day,
Yeah.
because it didn't just happen to my grandmother. It happened to other grandmothers, parents, aunts, uncles,
Mm.
people who had saved their entire life in what was supposed to be a plan that would give them an income in their retirement years. And it was an epic fail
Right.
for many people. And so, interestingly, I pride myself now into being able to tell a client, hey, I know the market just took a hit. I want you to log into your account. I want you to tell me what your account value is, and the exact, to the penny, to the T, what they had in their account before the market declines. Guess what? They have the exact same amount in there to the penny. So I never
Mm.
have to call a client. I never have to answer a call from a client that says,
Right.
or that where they have to share with me or tell me or ring me a new one, because I just made them lose 30, 40, 50, $60,000. So I take personal pride in being able to protect the retirement assets, the retirement income of my clients.
Right. Well, thank you. Thank you so much for sharing that, because I know it's not easy to, like you said, it still gives you goosebumps. So I know it's not easy to kind of relive that and to rethink that. And to even be now in this time to know that there are more people going through that. But the best thing is we're here sharing the story, sharing the solution so that we can be able to stop or help prevent more so from that happening even more now, because I know with the markets, my husband and I were recently watching a video about the coronavirus, which it's absurd because there's so many conspiracy theories
Oh
that
my
are
God.
going on out there. But it's, girl, it is just worse. We actually, real quick, just ran into a clip of a Netflix um, TV show that was out there that Netflix actually pulled down, that in 2018 talked about the coronavirus being being released. It's absurd. It is crazy, and I was just like, I can't believe it. So it's going viral out there. Um, but more so the fact of it, we haven't hit our peak, and we watched with a doctor that said, you know, when you hit your peak, when the numbers of deaths start to go down. So as they're continuing to increase, it's not over, and it's not going to be over. So it's taking a big hit on the economy. And so one of the things that I know in finances is we've heard plenty of times, control what you can control.
Mhm.
And so what is a suggestion in a sense? And I don't know if this question's a little too impromptu, but or maybe how about this? Yeah, let me ask that. When you say control what you can control, what does that mean to you? Or what does that mean in a sense for a client? How can they control what they can? Because we can't control the market.
No,
What
you
can
you
we
can't.
control?
You can't, and you're absolutely right. So when it comes to control, and not even speaking in finance terms, the only thing you can control is what you put in your mind, meaning what you feed your mind, the knowledge that you are receiving. So
Mm,
what I mean by that is, if you knew what you know today, meaning you have no control over the market, and you're 50, 60 years old, you can't really take any big hits right now. If you knew that 20, 30 years ago, would your decision to do what you've done financially change? So when I say
mm,
control, the only thing you can truly control is the knowledge that
mhm,
you're receiving. What are you going out there to research? Do you know all of your options and where to put your money? Do you know that a 401k, the average person in their 50s and 60s has less than $150,000 to retire on? Do you know that? Do you know that there's
wow.
resources out there that will tell you this? Do you know that when you
Yeah.
retire, that no, you still have to pay taxes on all that money that you've saved over the course of 30, 40 years. That's information you actually can control, because guess what? We have this wonderful thing called the internet and Google. If you use Google, and you can easily research it. So where you don't find answers, it's because you're not looking. So only thing you can really control is what you're doing to become financially literate, to become financially aware. That's the only thing you can control. Now, when it comes to from a financial perspective, what you can control is what you're doing to be able to save. And one thing that I will say, and this is something that I am going to kind of backtrack just a little bit, and because I have a point to it. So one thing that has really become so apparent with what's been happening now with 10 million people over the course of 2 weeks filing for unemployment is clearly that we have a huge issue when it comes to saving for the short term, meaning 3 to 6 months, even 12 months of your monthly expenses in your savings account. The interesting thing, however, which is the reason why the government has now allowed, they've waived the 10% penalty for taking money out prematurely, is that it sheds light into the actual problem. You've been saving in your 401k for 10, 15, 20, 30 years, and you have less than 2 months of an emergency fund in a savings account at your bank. That's a huge, huge fail. And I'm not saying you're failing personally. I just mean the system, the financial education system, which we have none of, has failed our people and continues to fail our people. If you have $10,000, $15,000 sitting in your 401k that's pre-tax, even if you don't have to pay a penalty, guess what? You still got to pay the taxes on that if you don't pay it back. Okay, you're loaning it to yourself, essentially. If you don't pay it back, you're paying taxes come 2021. Okay, so I share that because, do you see what I mean? Because there's a huge misconception that I have to save, I have to put my 3% in for my retirement, but I have 0 in my savings account. Well, don't you think that savings account would have helped you more right now than having to wait 2, 3, 4, 5 weeks for your money to come in from a 401k? Do you see the big difference here? It's just it's a shift in your thought process when it comes to saving. Your bank, easily liquid, easily accessible. 401k, not so much. They're making it easy now, but that's just a band-aid to a bigger problem. You start touching your 401k money, and now you're going to go into not having enough for retirement in the near future.
Right. And thank you so much for touching base on that, because I was actually going to ask about that, because I did see the article where there's just like so many people can start to pull it out now, and I know some people were really excited about that. But if you're not clear on the rules of how this, we say money is a game. You have to know the rules of the money game in order to win, just like a game of basketball, football. You're not going to expect to, I can't play sports. I was always a cheerleader. So I'm not going to go to the NBA championship and think that I'm going to get a ring like Jordan. It's not going to happen. I'll be lucky if I get the ball into the rim. Every time I played basketball, somebody got hit in the face because it bounced off and hit them. I was like, well, you should have been paying attention and moved. That's not my fault. But we have to learn, like you said, and I love that you said that. The only thing we can control is educating ourselves. I know my husband and I have been just delving into books in this season, and Money Master the Game has been. When I say my husband is studying this book, it's not reading, it's studying it. Yes. Look right there. Yes.
Absolutely.
I love this book. He's so in love with it. I even just made a purchase so that I can teach my kids. There was a financial literacy teacher, and she created a whole curriculum for her students, and she decided to put it into a book. So it's not just teaches financial literacy, but it teaches it from a biblical perspective as well. And it starts at a job interview to knowing how to set up your resume, cover letter, network, to budgeting, to understanding finances and statements, to understanding insurance. Like it's like 9 different chapters, and I have to delve into it so I can start teaching my kids when they come back with us this week. But it's amazing. It's just like there's so many resources out there, but it's also sometimes it gets confusing because there's so many different opinions. So that's why I'm glad that I have you, because if anybody has questions, that's also something that we could do, is be able to be a resource to answer. So it's not just, okay, I read this, he said, she said stuff. And I know when I got into the industry, my biggest questions were like, okay, well, what's really the difference between 401ks? What is this annuity stuff? Because you've helped, like you said, like made it a part of the annuity circle. You were the top, are at the top of the company. You're one of the leading females, which, first of all, females in the financial industry is not as big. We're coming and we're taking it over, but that's
Right.
huge to be able to make that statement, you know. So, what can you say, like in the most layman terms possible? What is the biggest differences between an annuity? Well, what is an annuity and versus a 401k? Because that's all we know is 401k, 403b, and all those four
Sure.
numbers and letters.
Sure. So it's actually a really great question. So number one, when it comes to an annuity, the definition that I use, just to keep it very simple, I like to keep it simple for my clients, is an annuity is simply it's an insurance contract. It's a contract between the client, which is the person that has money in the annuity, and the insurance company.
Hmm.
And essentially all it is, hey, it's an agreement that, hey, you're going to give me right, you're going to give me $100,000, and you're going to give me some time to invest that money so that I make money and you make money. There's different options when it comes to the types of annuities, which is where the disadvantages for annuities come in. So
Okay.
one thing I will say is this: with a 401k, you contribute, it's pre-tax dollars. You can do the same thing with an annuity depending on how it's structured. Okay.
Okay.
The biggest difference I would say with a 401k and an annuity is that a 401k, as you start to draw income from it, you deplete the account.
Hmm.
With an annuity, you have the option for
Oh.
income for life. So it works just like a pension. And guess what a pension
Oh.
is? A pension is an annuity. And most people don't know that because in their mind,
Oh.
they've only been programmed to know pensions, and pension is pension. But a pension is actually an annuity.
Mm, okay.
And so, although it's funded for a period of time and you don't know what your income is going to be until retirement, an annuity itself that you fund
Mhm.
is available for you to basically check your statements on an annual basis or semi-annual basis as well. So when it comes to contributing, a 401k is an employer sponsored plan. An annuity is personally owned.
Okay.
Okay. So meaning that
Okay.
when you're contributing to an annuity, you're not going to have an employer match because it's not with an employer, and 401k is. Okay. With an annuity,
Mm,
it's specifically a fixed index annuity. You don't have to worry about risk in losing when the stock market is volatile. But with a 401k,
okay.
you typically only have an option between aggressive and conservative. You don't have a way to go 100% fixed where I don't want to lose any money at all. There's always going to be some kind of
Mm,
risk. Um,
ah,
there are fees with both.
okay.
401k fees are, it's a managed account, so it has the higher fees. Annuities, between fixed and fixed index annuities, lower fees. So the
Okay.
interesting thing is, with an annuity, because you have the option for income for life, because it's a contract with an insurance company, the insurance company is assuming the risk that if you outlive your account value, you outlive your money, we will continue to pay you. Guess what else does that? A pension. Okay. With a 401k, once you've depleted all of your funds, guess what? You're out of money.
Ah, yes. Mm.
So those
Huh.
would be, I'd say, the key differences between a 401k and an
Okay. Perfect. Thank you for that clarity, because I know I definitely, when I come to retirement, I am not trying to worry about money. I do not want to run out of money. I don't want to go back to work. Like once I say that I'm retired, I'm retired. And I know sometimes some people, especially in the Christian community, they say that retirement isn't in the Bible. And what I mean by retirement is, as much as I love to be back in Cancun on the beach, and I want to be able to do that more often. And I can't do that 365 days a year. That's okay, but I want to work doing something that I love and that I enjoy. And whether I make income from it or not, I want to make sure that in that retirement age, or whatever that is, um, I want to be happy. I don't want to have to work somewhere because I have to pay the bills. I
Mm-hmm.
want to be able to be somewhere because I'm happy. And like my passion is, I've always wanted to be a dancer. And so I just want to go take dance classes or teach dance. Like, if you know
Well,
my two
I've
passions,
seen your moves.
travel
I've
and
seen your moves,
dancing.
and you're awesome.
Thank you. Because that's my happy place. That is such my happy place. So I'm like, if you want to find me my happiest moments, make sure that it's good music and I'm dancing, or have me travel. And so I want to be able to just invest into young Christian female entrepreneurs. That's the biggest part of my why. But I also want to take my family out and travel
Mhm.
whenever we want. There's I have huge goals. But the biggest thing is, be a blessing unto others, because it doesn't matter how far I get if I'm not bringing people along with me, whether it's a client or a new agent. It's all about being able to bless the next person, because that is so important, because we have solutions. We just don't necessarily always know how to find the answer. And if we don't, then we can stay in this victimhood and victim mentality, and that's not serving us at all. And so I don't know if anybody does have questions. I pulled it up here. If anybody has questions, definitely let me know. But in the interim, I guess one of the biggest things is, what is one of the biggest benefits that you've found as a momtrepreneur? Talk about
Um,
that journey with us for a
so
moment.
it hasn't always been um, what I consider to be easy. Um, it comes with its challenges. I have an ex-husband who is an amazing father to our two boys, and so we share our boys. During the baseball season, he has them more than I do. A lot of it's because during the summer months, I get to, be more with my clients. I don't have to take them to school and so forth. But it hasn't come without challenges. I've had times when I leave early the house and I come home late and I get to see my kids just say goodnight. Um, but what
Mm.
I'm enjoying most right now is the freedom that it's allowed me, because I did hustle the first almost 6 years in the industry to be able to now, have my morning coffees on my deck without having an 8 o'clock appointment, having to rush out of the house, where I can be with my daughter. And even though she's taking a nap, or I have her in my arms, I can still host a conference call. So being a momtrepreneur is hard, but the reward is everlasting. My daughter and my boys get to see what it's like to be with um, a very empowered woman, a woman with goals, a woman who will stop at nothing to be able to make sure that her kids can have the life that she didn't get to have. And that's what I want. I want to be the role model for my daughter. I want to be the role model, or the model woman that my boys can say, I want someone that's like my mom, that even though she goes to baseball games and she's exhausted, and she can come home and still cook me my arroz blanco with my chicken thighs, that she makes the best homemade macaroni and cheese with her own cheese sauce, kind of thing. Like, I can still do that
Nice.
and enjoy both. And I've never understood when women or even men would say you have to choose between a career and your family. That's not fair. That's not
Mm.
right. And I've never believed in that. And I think too often women lose themselves in the identity of mom and wife. and they
Yes.
themselves have a life. They should be able to go out there and achieve whatever goals they have. And if being a mom and staying at home is your goal, then God bless you. It's not mine.
Mm-hmm. And I love that you touched that point because that's what Queens Redeemed, is for me all about. And I've been learning more about what God has for that in this process in the last few years. But it really came about because I had the new position of being a new wife, a new bonus mom to teenagers, to three beautiful teenagers, to being a full-time entrepreneur, to being still maintaining the wife, the daughter status, the sister, the new member of a church, and a daughter-in-law, and too many hats. And I was just so overwhelmed. And I'm just like, as women, we have too many expectations on us. We have way too many hats that we need to wear. But all in all, too, like a lot of the expectations, when I had to go back, my husband did an activity. He said, write down all the expectations you had. I had 9 pages, front and back, of expectations I was overwhelmed with. And then he goes, now go back and number them and see are they coming from you, from me, from church, your mom, my family, anywhere. And most of it, I felt like it was definitely coming from me. And I was just like, how often as women do we do that? And Queens Redeemed is all about just empowering women so that we maintain our identity, our knowing our worth and our value, and not losing our identity in the roles that we have to play, but knowing who God created us to be, but empowering our businesses because we work so hard to build up everything that we have. It is a shame to have to lose it to things like this in the market because we just were not aware, but also empowering our finances because uh, it's, if a woman knows something, it is powerful because if she knows it, she's going to put it into her children, she's going to put it into her community, which
Yeah.
is going to impact the world. So women, we have that power. So it's just we as women need to continue to collaborate, continue to educate one another on the resources that we've learned so that we can continue to build up the very next
Yeah.
person. So I just want to say I absolutely love and adore you. It was honestly meeting you. You were like the solid factor to help introduce me into the finance industry because I just didn't know. I was just like, I just want to learn about money because I don't want to go to school and have to pay thousands of dollars and just teach me. But meeting you, learning your story, and I was just like, who is this spicy Puerto Rican with the big curls? And I love it because I'm feisty and spicy myself. So, like, who is this? I want to be her friend. And to just have learned so more and just watch your boys grow. Like, listen, for anybody who's got teenage girls, these boys are off the market. I will not let them get married until they're 40. No, they're gorgeous. Though. Like, you're going to have the most gorgeous grandchildren.
Thank you.
Say that when that time comes. Let's hopefully they don't do this till they're 40. Like,
Yes.
keep them single. But I'm trying to see. I don't have any questions right now. Um, but if anybody does have questions, how can we get in contact with you? Which I'll make sure to post it again below. So, what is the best way to get
Absolutely.
in touch?
So, one, you can always send me questions to my email. It's veronica.garcia@livingmoneysmart.com. You can definitely connect with me here on Facebook, on LinkedIn as well. I am under Veronica Cruz Garcia. I believe in both. Cruz is my maiden name. Garcia is my former married name. And until Tone pops the question, I will remain Cruz Garcia until that point. Hint, hint. So
Come on, Tone. Let's.
that's the way I just branded myself to be. And yeah, I thank you so much for having me on. What I will say is we need more of women like you who are forthcoming with bringing women together. Too often, not just we personally tear ourselves down, but other women tear other women apart.
Yeah.
And this is, if this is not an eye opener with what's going on right now with this virus and other, conspiracy theories, right? We need to come together and start uplifting each other so that we can become a better version of ourselves, especially if you don't get that support at home. Having a resource, a source of women, a group of women who are willing to help support you and guide you throughout your journey is so profound. It's so important to have. I know coming up in the industry, one of the things that I will always stay true is true to myself and true in what I believe in and true in the value I add to others. And that's why a lot of my hashtags, you'll see Real Talk with Vero, or I have a new blog and video content with Life Insurance 101 to help clients
Oh,
understand, different things when it comes to life insurance and little tips for them to kind of jot down as well. I'm working on my blog and everything. But I say that because um, you don't know what you don't know. And when you don't have support to help you in overcoming certain challenges, it's
mhm.
great to know that there are groups of women and women like you who are looking to bring us all together to help collaborate and do business together potentially, and overall help each other grow.
Yeah. So thank you. I appreciate that because it's all about collaboration over competition because there's room enough for all of us. And if not, then God wouldn't have created each and every one of us to be unique in our own ways, our own gifts, our own character. So I appreciate that. And I could definitely say you've 100% stuck to your character. You are a woman that has not changed or faltered and has just continued to provide a value to me, to my agents, and to just the community overall. So thank you so much. And so I guess, this just kind of concludes with what we're doing. And so this is definitely going to be reposted. It'll be shared through Facebook. I'll be sure to post it on to my YouTube. So that's going to be at Queens Redeemed. So all of it is going to fall under Queens Redeemed under the Women of Influence Finance Edition series. And so, if anybody does have any questions, please feel free to reach out to me or to Veronica. If you do connect with Veronica, just let her know you were referred by Amanda Sanchez. She knows, I can make sure to give any kudos and get back to anybody that has questions. If you have you can reach Veronica at veronica.garcia@livingmoneysmart.com. You can reach out to me via Facebook or LinkedIn or on here as well through Messenger, or you can give me a call if need be at 312-870-0810 with any questions. But more so, just continue to share the information. If you are on YouTube, like and subscribe, share this with everybody because we just need to make sure this information goes out. And so, Veronica, thank you so much for taking your time out from your family, from your business to provide value to our community. And I just hope everybody continues to have a blessed and wonderful day. And we'll see you all soon. I have a special guest again on Saturday and the next coming Wednesdays, all at noon. So stay tuned, you all. I love you. God bless
Love
you.
you.
See you
Thank you
soon.
so much,
Bye
honey. Bye.
bye.